Martin Hahn's resume boasts many impressive titles: Canadian National Parks Game Warden, member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and martial artist, just to name a few. For the past decade, he has been traveling the world facilitating life-changing events for thousands of people through Enlightenment Warrior Training Camps and a program we'll be talking about today, The Opening. My day started with vegan pizza and friends 2 hours north of New York City and ended with Indian food and a rooftop gathering in Manhattan. In between, I had the privilege of talking with Martin about The Opening.
The Opening Intensive is an ancient method of partnered contemplation, coupled with some very modern communication techniques that allows people to break through all of the barriers of their minds, all the things that are holding them back, all of the things that need to be expressed and the layers that need to be peeled away in order for people to get back to their true authentic nature. And what that translates into when you get back to the life after you've completed the intensive is that you have that much more clarity on the purpose of what it is that you're trying to create. You're able to create more authentic relationships both at home in your intimate settings and with your business partners. And you're able to be much more in alignment with who you are actually meant to be, so that all of the things that you become involved in become that much easier for you to be able to pursue. You show up at the facility on a Friday evening. We provide you with the supper so you don't have to worry about trying to feed yourself before you get there. What we do is we really create a space for people to show up just as they are, without all of their electronic gadgets and all of the other responsibilities they have in life. And we really take over for you for the next 4.5 days and look after every aspect of your whole beingness for 4.5 days. So when you show up Friday, we go through the schedule of what the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are going to look like. We provide you with a place to sleep, we provide you with all the meals, the rest periods, all of that. We let you know what the schedule is going to be. And then basically for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you work on a very powerful transformational process with other participants throughout those 3 days to really take you back to the core and the truth of who you are. And then on Monday what we do, or on Tuesday, pardon me, what we do is we come back out of that process, we slowly start to integrate you back into going back into the real world, because what you'll realize is that after those 3 days of this process, you'll be in a very different, much more open space. And it takes a little bit of integration work to get you back into integrating all of those things that you've just gotten into your everyday life, to avoid you falling back into the old habits and patterns that you may have had or may have created prior to coming. We actually make sure that on that last day we provide you with the tools you need so that when you get home you can continue to live from that space of freedom and openness that you've experienced for the last 3 days.
So when we were talking earlier, we were talking a little bit about a program that I do on the side where it's a diet detox. It's a combination of raw foods and juice fasting for 21 days. And you mentioned the opening being something like a spiritual detox. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Well, it's a spiritual detox, but it's also very much an intellectual detox. And what tends to happen for most people is because we go through life and have so many things that we're not allowed to or not able to express and have them fully received by another, we tend to hold on to different ideologies and ideas about who we are and what life is, just based on our life history. And we put these layers over top of our true authentic self, so that after a few years we sort of lose track of who we really are and how we need to show up, and then we start searching outside of ourselves for answers to some very important key questions in life that are actually already within us. They've just been covered over with layers.
Okay.
So what we do at the Open is we start to slowly peel away all of these layers that have been put there over the years until you end up actually back at the core of the truth of who you are and who you were meant to be, so that when you go back to your life you have a lot of clarity about what it is that you want to do or how you want to do it. All of your relationships shift because you're more authentic in the way you show up and present yourself, and then other people are able to receive you better. And there's all sorts of benefits that come in relation to that, as you can imagine. You know, whether it just be clarity on what you want to do with your life, whether it's being able to understand people better and therefore have better business management skills, being received and heard better by others so that your management skills and your ability to actually manage people, if that's what you're into, goes through the roof. Just because of the communication process that you go through, there's just all of these tools that you can apply to all different areas of your life.
What I'm going through right now, the place where I'm at right now in life, and you know, all my subscribers know, is I'm having a baby. I'm starting different part of my business. I do fitness, but I'm starting to venture out and go into new things like teaching and yoga. And so I'm hoping for me, and what you're describing is this is going to be something that can help me in business and can help me open up to new relationships and people I'm going to meet, and then find where I belong in what I'm doing, like kind of like clarify my path, I guess, because you used that word earlier too, is getting clarity in what you're doing in life or where you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the big things that people really get out of this is their ability to communicate and get themselves across and what it is that they're wanting to do. So what that allows you to do is you not only start to attract people into your life who can support you in that, but you can also be much clearer in your communication when you're talking to these people about how they can support you in that. And that, of course, applies to your business or your intimate relationships when you're dealing with your children. Like, you just imagine if you're able to take a moment out of your busy day and then really just connect with your kids and give them the opportunity to be heard, rather than trying to put them off or just sort of half-ass listen to them. The reason kids get all worked up sometimes because their parents aren't listening for them.
Right.
Because we're so busy, right? You know that we've both got kids, right? So I know that when I'm sort of half listening, going, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. He knows that I didn't really get what he was trying to communicate. So now if I take a moment and say, okay, I'll take a breath, boom, connect, really look at my son and have a contact with him and have a conversation briefly, he gets it across, I fully receive it, he lets go of it, and I'm done in 5 minutes, versus having to deal with the same thing over and over again 10 minutes at a time. Now all of a sudden I've taken something that used to take a half an hour and I'm done in 5 minutes. We're both better served, we're both happier, and things just get done that much more quicker with that much more clarity.
Well, with me, it's a lot about just having the permission to do it. To just have someone say, okay, now it's okay to just be you and say what you want to say. And you don't get that permission in everyday life. So it's true, you bury it and you bury it and you bury it. Sometimes you do it because the person isn't actively listening, or just because you're holding back because you don't feel comfortable sharing. Now, with your participants, just because my audience is very wide, like I have young women and mothers and people going through big transitions, especially with weight loss and fitness, and a lot of times that's associated with big things that have happened in their life, like lifestyle change, like divorce, or sometimes happy things, sometimes bad things. Is this something for someone who's going through a big change? Is this something that who's drawn to this, and who would be ideal for this? Don't say everybody.
Ideal, it's not everybody, but what you're describing is actually the perfect person, because as people go through this process and they're able to get themselves across fully, they're actually able to gain clarity in the midst of whatever struggles they may be dealing with, that'll help them deal with whatever situation they need to move through with ease. Because it provides the clarity. Sometimes there's emotional things attached we just need to let go of, and all of a sudden the clarity is right there and it shows up. But it's sometimes really hard to see when you're in the middle of it. You're not surrounded by people who are supportive and are willing to do whatever they need to do to get you to move through whatever needs to be moved through. So it's a really beautiful time to show up. And even if you're dealing with things like weight loss, you start to realize that, it's like, well, if I lose weight, I'll be happy, like you were mentioning earlier when we were talking about. But realistically, it's if I find my happiness, then the weight loss follows automatically.
Right.
And it's
happy first. Yeah. And then the physical happiness.
It's another one of those things where everything is already linear. Everything happens much faster and lasts a lot longer if it comes from the inside out, rather than it trying to be filled up from the outside in.
Right.
And this process really takes you back to the truth of who you are. It allows you to really get up and have a good look at who you are, get your self-esteem back, get your happiness back, get your clarity, get your focus back. All of those things, they all just show up naturally as a result of you getting more to the core of who you are.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why I'm really excited about participating, is because there's a group of people who would just say, let the universe happen and let it take its course. And I think that the universe offers many gifts, but you have to take those steps to do that. So I want to make that transition, and I really want to open myself up to the next step and the next phase of my life, but I have to facilitate that. So I have to show up and I have to do it. So I'm really excited. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for taking the time to be with me.
Oh, of course.